Section 3 of Romances of Old Japan. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Romances of Old Japan by Yei Theodora Ozaki. The Quest of the Sword, Part 3. The temple bell was booming the hour of parting day as Jurobei disconsolately hurried home. All his attempts had failed to procure the money wherewith to pay Izaimon's debt to Botaroku, and knowing that Botaroku was the kind of man to take a merciless revenge, he was in a mood of profound depression. Suddenly, in the road he came upon a group of beggars, surrounding a little girl dressed as a pilgrim. The wretches, thinking her an easy prey to their cupidity, were tormenting the poor little wayfarer, and trying to wrest from her the contents of her wallet. But she was bravely defending herself, and resisting their attacks with great spirit. Seeing how matters stood, Jurobei promptly drove the beggars away with his stick, and then, to avoid the return of her assailants, he compassionately took the child by the hand, and led her home with him. But alas! By a fatal mischance, they had taken a different road to that chosen by Oyumi. As soon as they reached the porch, he called out, "I have come back, Oyumi." Contrary to his expectation, there was no response, and entering hastily, he found the cottage empty and in darkness. "How is it that the place is deserted? Where can Oyumi have gone to at this hour?" he grumbled as he groped his way across the room to set light to the standing lantern. Then by its fitful glow he sank down upon the mats in gloomy abstraction and the lassitude of disappointment, and pondered seriously on the desperate straits to which he and his wife were reduced. The situation seemed hopeless, for well he knew that no clemency could be expected from the enemy, and unless some money was forthcoming that very night, he was a lost man. All at once a thought struck him. He beckoned the little pilgrim to draw near. "Come here, my child. Those rascally beggars from whom I rescued you were trying to steal your wallet. Tell me, have you much money with you?" "Yes, I have what several kind people have given me," was her reply. "Let me see how much you have," demanded Jurobei peremptorily. Otsuru, for indeed it was she, took out a little bag and reluctantly offered a few coins for her inquisitor's inspection. "Is this all you have, child?" he persisted impatiently. No, I have several koban besides." Footnote: Koban, the name of an ancient pure gold coin, elliptical in shape, worth about 1 yen, but the purchasing value perhaps 100 times what it is in the present day, answered the girl, her childish mind exaggerating the amount. "Oh, indeed, so you have many koban?" Jurobei mused for a few minutes. Here was an unexpected opportunity to satisfy the avarice of Botaroku. "Let me take care of the koban for you. It is not safe for you to keep them," said Jurobei, stretching out his hand towards her. No, replied Otsuru, shaking her head with decision. "When my grandmother was dying, she made me promise faithfully never to show the money to anyone, as it is tied together with a very precious thing. I must not give or show the bag to anyone." Jurobei, who saw deliverance from his debt of honor in the money he supposed the child to carry, tried to frighten her into giving it up to him, but she was firm in her refusal, and rose to her feet with the intention of escaping from her persecutor. "Oh, I will stay here no longer, you frighten me," she exclaimed, moving towards the porch. Jurobei, in fear lest his last hope should fail, seized her by the collar of her dress. Oh, help, help!" loudly screamed the girl in terror. What a noise! What a noise!" exclaimed Jurobei in exasperation, and alarmed lest the neighbours should overhear the child's cries, he roughly attempted to stifle her screams with his hand across her mouth. For a few minutes, as a snared bird flutters in the net of its captor, the hapless Otsuru put forth all her strength and endeavoured desperately to disengage herself. Her struggles then subsided, and she grew still. Jurobei began to reason with her without removing his hold. "There is nothing whatever to fear. The truth is I am in pressing need of some money. I do not know how much you have, but lend it to me for a few days. During that time stay here quietly. I will take you to visit the temple of Kwannon-sama, and we will go every day to see the sights of the city near by and amuse ourselves. Never fear, only lend me all you have like a good child." As he freed her, she fell to the ground. "What is the matter?" said Jurobei, anxiously bending over her little form. There was no answer. She lay quite still, with no sign of life or motion. "Oh! Oh!" exclaimed Jurobei. Thinking that she had fainted, he fetched water and sprinkled her pale face and tried to force a few drops between her closed lips, but there was not even a flicker of response. The child lay dead before him. Worn out with the hardships and fatigues of the long, long pilgrimage, as a frail light flickers out before a rough gust of wind, her waning strength had failed in that last struggle. The griefs of earth were left behind, and the brave little soul had set out on its longer journey to the Meido, Hades. Jurobei was thoroughly alarmed. In that tragic moment he knew not what to do. However, hearing his wife's returning footsteps, he hastily moved the body to one side of the room and covered it with a quilt. Oyumi entered the room in great perturbation. "Oh, oh, help me to look for her! Help me! While you were out this afternoon, wonderful to tell, who should come here and search for us but our own child, Otsuru. How I longed to reveal myself to her, the poor, poor little one. But the knowledge that she must share our miserable fate when we are arrested, which may be at any moment now, forced me to send her away without telling her that I was her mother. After she had gone I could not bear the thought of never seeing her again. I ran after her, but she had disappeared. She cannot have gone far. I came back to fetch you. Let us look for her together." Jurobei was dumbfounded at this totally unexpected intelligence. He stood up as though ready to start out into the night. "How was she clothed? What kind of dress did she wear?" he asked hurriedly. "She wore a long-sleeved robe brightly patterned with designs of spring blossoms, and on her shoulders she carried a pilgrim's pack." "She carried a pilgrim's pack," echoed Jurobei forlornly, and seized with an icy trembling. The frightful truth had flashed upon his brain. He knew that he had killed his own child. Oyumi, wondering at his hesitation, prepared to start out again. "You need not go to look for our child," Jurobei hoarsely muttered. "She is already here." "Has she come back?" cried Oyumi in excitement. "Tell me where she is." "She's lying there under that quilt," he replied, pointing to where the body lay. Oyumi quickly crossed the room and drew back the coverlet. "My child! Oh, my child! At last I may call you so!" cried the delighted mother, sinking on her knees in a transport of joy. Long and tenderly she gazed at the little figure lying prone before her, but how strange that her clothes were still unloosened, and the heavy pack had not been unstrapped from the tired shoulders. Oyumi touched her hands and found them cold. Panic-stricken, she listened at the child's breast, only to find her fears confirmed, and that the little form was still and lifeless. "Oh, oh, oh!" wailed Oyumi. "She's dead! She's dead!" The shock was too deep for tears. For a moment the unhappy woman was paralyzed. Then turning to her husband, "You must know how she died. Tell me, tell me," she gasped distractedly. The half-dazed Jurobei related as well as he could all the events of that fatal afternoon. He finished his recital. "I put my hand over her mouth to stop her screaming, and on releasing her she fell to the ground. I had no intention of killing her, and pitied the poor unfortunate girl, though I had no idea she was my little Tsuru. That I should have slain our own child must be the result of sin committed in one of the former states of existence. Alas! Forgive me, Oyumi, forgive me." And the stricken man broke down and wept. "Was it you, her father, who killed her?" cried Oyumi in horror. "Oh, my child, my own child," she sobbed. "It was your fate to come in search of such cruel, unnatural parents. When you told me of the hardships you had suffered in looking for them, my soul was pierced with woe. When I refrained from making myself known to you, I felt as though my heart must break. It was only the depth of my love for you that made me drive you away from our door. If only I had kept you here, this would never have happened. This calamity has come upon us as a result of my driving you away. Forgive me, oh forgive me, Otsuru, Otsuru." And the miserable mother gathered the lifeless form of her little daughter to her breast and rocked herself to and fro in the frenzy of grief unutterable. "Words are useless. What is done can never be undone. If only I had not known that she had possessed the money to help me out of this crisis, it would never have happened. Money is a curse," he said in broken accents, as he took out from the folds of the child's dress the bag containing the coins. Opening it, only 3 ryo were disclosed. Footnote: ryo equals yen, about 2 shillings, but in those times equal to perhaps 100 times its present value. "What a miserable pittance! Can this be all? I made a mistake in thinking she had a great deal. This certainly must be retribution for some bad action in my previous existence." His hand still searching the bag came upon a letter. He drew it forth and read the address. To Jurobei and his wife. "Oh, this is my mother's handwriting." Jurobei tore it open and began to read. "Ever since the day you left home, we must have felt mutual anxiety concerning each other's health and welfare. This is the natural feeling between parent and child, so I shall not write more upon this subject, but inform you of the real reason for this letter without further detail. First of all, what I wish to tell you is that it has come to my knowledge that Onota Gunbei has the lost Kunitsugu sword in his possession. Immediately I tried to obtain indisputable evidence of this fact, but as I am only a stupid woman, on second thoughts I feared that were I to take any steps in this direction, it might result in more harm than good. Intending, therefore, to seek you out and let you proceed in this matter, I began to prepare myself and Otsuru for the journey. But at the last moment I was suddenly taken with a mortal illness, and was compelled to relinquish all hope of setting out to find you. I write this letter instead. As soon as it reaches your hands, return home at once. Restore the sword to its rightful owner and earn your promotion. For this I shall wait beneath the flowers and the grass." "Oh," exclaimed Jurobei, "then it was Gunbei who stole the sword. How grateful I am to my mother for this discovery. But what a cruel blow to think that she is dead." Oyumi took the letter from his hand and continued to read aloud. "My greatest anxiety now is concerning little Otsuru, left helpless and friendless, and about to start alone on this journey. If by the mercy and help of the gods she reaches you safely, bring her up tenderly and carefully. She is a clever child. She writes and plays the koto well, besides being clever at her needle, and can skillfully sew crepe and silken robes. I myself have taken pains to instruct her, and am proud of my pupil. Give her an opportunity of showing her handiwork, and then praise her, both of you. She brings with her the medicine which I have found by experience to suit her best. Should she ail at any time, fail not to administer it. Although repetition is irksome, yet again I beg you to take every care of my precious grandchild." Here Oyumi, unable to read further, broke down in lamentations and cried aloud. Now the spiteful Butaroku, finding that Jurobei did not come to pay Izaemon's debt according to agreement, was highly incensed. Knowing that the authorities were on the alert to seize Jurobei, he maliciously went and lodged information of his whereabouts. Just at the moment they had finished reading the momentous letter, the officers of the law arrived outside the house with a great noise, shouting and clamouring. Jurobei and Oyumi, to gain a few minutes' time, snatched up the body of Utsuru and quickly concealed themselves in a back room. The police entered and a scene of wild confusion ensued. Confident of finding their prey hidden somewhere in the cupboards, they broke down the walls, the shoji, the boards of the ceiling, and even the little shrine dedicated to the goddess Kwannon. Jurobei had in those few moments braced himself up for a desperate fight. He would rather die than surrender to the law before his mission of finding the sword had been accomplished. Like a whirlwind he rushed into the room where his adversaries were battering down all before them, and like a demon of fury he attacked them, mortally slashing with his sword each man that attempted to lay hands on him. The savage bravery of his onslaught was terrific, and so dexterous and unerring was his aim that he seemed possessed of superhuman strength. His opponents were terror-stricken, and in a few minutes, like a spider's nest, when the threads of the binding web are broken by rough contact, they fled for their very lives, and rushed scattered in all directions. "Now is our time! Let us escape!" cried Oyumi. Both began to run from the wrecked house. "You have forgotten our child," Jurobei whispered brokenly. "She needs our anxiety no more. She is safe beyond the suffering of this world. We will bury her here before we leave." Hurriedly retracing their steps, they re-entered the house, and seizing the debris that lay strewn in all directions, placed it in a heap upon the little corpse. It was the work of a few moments to light the torches. This was the sole alternative that was left them to prevent their beloved dead from falling into the desecrating hands of callous strangers. It was impossible to carry the body with them in their flight. As the flames crackled and blazed up, Jurobei and Oyumi stood side by side, praying for the departed soul with uplifted hands placed palm to palm, while they watched the burning of their child's funeral pyre. End of section 3. Recording by Maricel Cui.